and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah, and for today's video I'm going to be doing a short book review on the book One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. This is the second book of a series. The first book was called Three Dark Crowns, and I heard about this series through Owl Crate. I actually received the first book in one of my Owl Crate boxes. I believe it was sometime last year in 2017, and of course I gave it a shot even though I never heard of it, because let's face it, I haven't heard of most of the books that I receive in my Owl Crates, but of course I read them anyways. And I have to admit, I almost DNF'd it. It took a very long time for the story to really get going for me. I felt like there just wasn't enough pacing. The pacing was just very slow. I didn't feel like I connected with any of the characters. But I am so glad I didn't, and that I just kept on pushing, because towards the end of that book, it did get very, very good. And the second one, this one right here, One Dark Throne, was 1,000 times better, in my opinion, than the first one. Basically, the premise of these books is there are 3 girls. They are triplets, and they are all queens of this island. And every generation a set of triplets is born, and once they turn 16, I believe it is, it begins the Ascension year, which means one of them will become queen of the whole island. But the way to determine that is by killing the other 2 sisters. So this is a story about all 3 sisters and what they have to go through, really, as they are put against each other to kill each other. There is also some magical elements to this. Each of the queens does have a special gift. We have Arsinoe, who is the naturalist queen. So this means that she should be able to have connections with nature, with animals, have a familiar is what they call it. It's kind of like your animal companion. We also have Queen Katarine, who is a poisoner, which means she is able to touch and ingest poisons without dying. And then our last queen is Mirabella. She is the elemental queen, so she has control of all of the elements. In the first book, it is thought that Mirabella is the strongest queen and that no question she would be the one to win. However, as we get further along in the story, and especially in this book, Queen Katarine and Queen Arsinoe have become much stronger than they were at the very beginning of this story. And this story is much quicker paced. It has more action and a better overall storyline, I think. One thing that I really enjoyed about this is it seems that this generation it's not going to play by the rules that the generations in the past have done. Mirabella and Arsinoe don't want things to be this way, but Katarine does, so there is still all this tension and conflict. But to see the dynamics of the sisters' relationships with each other and with their advisors around them, it is very interesting, and it was a very good read. It was really fun. There is a 3rd book coming out later this year that I, of course, am super excited to read. This one did kind of leave on a cliffhanger, pretty much as most stories and series do, and it's very different than how the first book ended. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who is wanting to read this, but there are new friendships, new relationships that do occur at the end of this that really sets off a whole new adventure. I honestly have no idea where Kendare Blake is going with this in the next book, by the way that this ended. But overall, I believe I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Like I said, so much better than the first one. I love the relationships between the queens and between them and themselves, their friends, their advisors, as well as just the basic storyline. This idea of having triplet queens and a fight to the death for the crown is very morbid, but also very interesting, and that is what led me to pick up this book in the first place, and why I did push on through that first one, even though it was really hard for me to really get into. Just a very fascinating concept. Of course, throw in magic and a fantasy land, and that is just a perfect book for me. So I definitely recommend this series. If you are like me and you struggle through the first one, don't give up. It is worth it in the end to just keep pushing on, and especially when you get to the second book, it is so much better than the first one. And I do want to talk about the cover of this book really quick. I love how they depicted this throne. It does have the 3 different traits of each queen. Up on the top here we have vines and flowers showing Arsenault's naturalist side. In the middle we have flames, which show Mirabella's elemental aspect. And then down at the bottom we have a bunch of snakes, which is representative of Katrine's poisoner aspect. So I really, really like this cover. I love that it's just a black background and this throne with these aspects of these 3 different queens. I feel like it's very simple, but also very powerful at the same time. So great job to the illustrator on this. It is a beautiful cover, and it's a beautiful cover for a beautiful book. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I would love to hear your comments on these books as well, especially for those of you who are in my same boat about not really liking the first one but loving this one. Or if you did love the first one, please comment down below why you loved it. I would absolutely like to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. So please go ahead and do so. And again, just thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.